dealing with difficult clients. This is something we've actually had a lot of people ask us about. How do you deal with extremely difficult clients? You're in the service business. This is key. We're going to dive right into this right now on the Biz Talk. So, Trace.
I know how to deal with a difficult boss.
How did I know that was? I was going to say, I know how to deal with difficult employees.
Geo.
And
Steph, of course.
And this is actually something, well, obviously it's real. And in the nail business, like that is it. You're in the service business. You've got clients coming in, right?
All different personalities.
Oh my God. Yeah. All different types. Now, like I can speak to this in terms of like distributors and customers, right? But it's different in the salon. It's different because you can't hide.
No.
You want to make money, you got to have a client right in front of you.
Holding their hand.
Literally holding their hand. So there's a couple things here, Trace. Like, first of all, I want to kind of explore, how did you deal with difficult clients, number one? How should somebody deal with difficult clients? I can speak to it, a little bit in terms of just on the business side and how I've dealt with it. And even like extremely irate customers, which I've come across, I actually kind of liked it in a weird way.
Shocking.
And when we'll get into that. But also, we see how a lot of pros have dealt with it on social media, which is very interesting. I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, I like that subject because it's interesting. It really is.
Yeah, and what is it called?
Client clapback.
Client clapback, right. So we'll talk about that too. Let's first discuss how did you deal with a difficult client? Obviously, you're fully booked, right? I know you kind of have built a full clientele. You eventually kind of pick and choose your clients, but not every client's going to be perfect every single time.
No.
Right? You're going to have a few that are difficult.
And when you're seeing, 60 plus people a week,
it's insane.
You're not going to get along with everybody or have a bond with everybody. You try to find a common ground,
right? Something
you can talk about. There's always something you can talk about for the most part. But then, and then there's people that just, you're like, their personality, a little not the funnest to be around.
Sure.
Maybe they're just grumpy. I can deal with that.
Let's first define what is a difficult client. Is it somebody that's late all the time? Is it somebody that has an attitude? Like, what exactly qualifies a client as like, quote unquote, difficult? Doesn't pay?
All of
what
it.
Is that?
All of that.
All that in one, or each individual?
Individual. It can be. It's when it's something is extreme for me. Is when you have to deal with it.
That's a good definition, actually.
If they're always late.
Yeah.
That's a difficult client.
They're always having trouble paying.
Then there's a problem. Everybody has a bad day or a bad moment. But if it's a continual saying, they're always complaining about your work. You're like, why do you keep coming to me?
Right.
There's been people like, I've stopped, had that conversation. Like, why are you doing this?
Okay. Let's back up. Right.
Okay.
So I like that definition. Extreme in any one of those areas can qualify as a difficult client. Now, how do you deal with it? What would you do, actually?
It's a conversation.
Okay.
And that's hard to do at first. But when you start realizing, like, listen, I'm not going to work and this is a fellow employee that I have to deal with the personality. This is someone that I literally invite into my salon, invite to sit down. I mean, again, they pay me for it, but I do not have to see them. Then it's a conversation of like, listen, this is the problem that I'm having. We either have to correct it, or I think it might be better that you go somewhere else.
Find somebody else. Yeah. And you can have that conversation in a respectful
Very respectful,
way,
yeah.
Right? So let me ask you, I have a lot of questions here because this is a really interesting topic for me.
You always have questions.
I always have questions. This is true. Why are you here? Just kidding.
It's like, what are you eating? What's in it? Food obsession.
I do. I'm just a curious individual. Please excuse my curiosity. So What if you're just starting out and you don't have customers or clients, and somebody is quote unquote difficult, right? According to this definition, they're always late, having troubles paying, but you need the money. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. When you're first growing your clientele, you will tolerate a lot more.
Right.
You will.
Right.
Because you need the money. You know, if a client's having difficult paying every time, then you're not getting the money anyway. So, let it go.
That's
true. But you can deal with some lateness. You can deal, you try to keep on reminding them. And then once you get that clientele where you're like, you know what? I always say, I would literally pay you not to come to me. It's time to have a conversation.
Yeah.
When I see that, I would call her Becky. It's Becky.
I love Becky.
I'm sorry if you're a Becky out there. No offense. It's just there's like this little Becky.
It hits.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So if you see Becky is on your books at 3 and you just walked into the salon at 8 in the morning and that ruins the rest of your day.
It's time to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that happens.
Yeah, of course. So I 1000% agree with you on, like, if you're starting out, you got to deal with it. Like, if I said anything different, I'd be lying, because what did we do even at Young Nails? We had very challenging, difficult customers, Tracey. When I first started, it was hard to collect money from. It was extremely difficult to talk to them because there were customers that would yell, scream on the phone at something so stupid and dumb, and they would rage at me. I would take it because we were so desperate.
Trying to build something.
We were trying to build something. So, but here is the one thing, there was a very small group of customers that we were not making money on and would disrespect the way that they would communicate. And I was like, this is definitely not worth it. And I actually called them and axed them, which we couldn't really afford, but it was too much. Well, it was too extreme.
And what you're saying is what they were giving you wasn't worth it.
Correct.
There was no balance there. It's like, well, I'm making money on them, but I have to deal with this.
That wasn't happening.
Really making money on them.
No, that wasn't happening. Okay, cool. So what about the way in which to deal with difficult clients, okay? Because we see this on social media, right? So, well, I'm sorry. Before I get too ahead of myself, because like I said, this is a conversation. I know I'm all over the place. Nothing changes, right? This is how I am. You have a conversation, but what happens after that? Let's continue on that road. So you have a conversation. They say, okay, when's the point that you're like, sorry, this is not working anymore? How many times do you have the conversation?
That really, when I have that conversation, that is the time.
It's a warning.
It is. Because I'm not like, oh, you annoyed me 1-2 times and now we're having this conversation. I'm at that point, I don't want you. I might during the appointments be like, hey, ease up a little or whatever, but if I am having this, stopping before I start the service and listen, we need to talk, then that is your one time.
Yeah. Because things have happened that have led up to that conversation. It's not like it's happened once.
Yeah. It wasn't just, oh, it just annoyed me this time. It's like, okay, this has been a problem that, I've asked you to show up on time, or, I've asked you many times, you don't seem happy with my nails,
Yeah.
Is there what's the problem? So if we're having that actual conversation, then we're done.
Okay. I want to role play. I know this is weird, but I think it would be helpful for people to know how to have that conversation.
Right.
So you have the conversation with me. Okay. Just imagine that. So I've been annoying you. I've been late like crazy, right? I walk in late again. Talk to me like I'm the client.
This is going to be fun. Get the heck out, Habib.
I'm not leaving. Does it sound familiar?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I think I literally told him that this morning. Listen, Habib, I just wanted to have a conversation with you real quick. I know that, my policies are out about late or cancellations. I really have a pretty firm policy that if you do it 2 times in 3 months, I really will not rebook you. So I really need, if you I need you to be on time because it's not fair to my next client, or it really stresses me out too. So, and that way I'm on time for you when you come in. For the next, the client before you, I'd have the exact same conversation with them. So,
okay,
can we work on that?
Okay, so cool. And then let's now, like, I'd really want to hear, how would you actually like fire a client, right? So let's say you have the conversation with me, I come back in, and I'm
You wouldn't be back in.
No, but let's,
you show up late again.
Let's say I show up late again. Okay, so and you're like, in your mind, you're like, I have to fire this client.
Yeah.
What does that sound like?
Well, first of all, if it depends how late you were, I probably wouldn't have done you. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So my policy was 10 minutes late, you might not get something done.
Let's say I was 10 minutes late, but there was nobody
consistent.
It was and like, you're going to fire me.
Yeah.
What is that conversation? How do you fire a client?
Usually it would be over the phone. I would just call them.
Oh, because they're not there. And
they're not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would you say?
I'd be like, hey, Habib, I truly have appreciated the time that we've spent together. However, it's just not working out. I think truly that you would be happier going to someone else, to another a place that can accommodate your schedule more than I can. But it's not working with my schedule. So I really appreciate it.
really sorry, Tracey. I promise the last time it won't happen again. No, really. I'm sure that happens, right?
Yeah,
so what do you,
has.
Please, can you just give me one more
I did have someone say that.
Can you please give me one more chance?
I'm sorry, I can't. I just cannot put you back on my books.
There's no way you can, I'm literally walking out of my house. I'm only 30 minutes away.
No, I would call you before. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, I did have someone do that. And then she called me several times. And then she would call the salon and try to get the girls that worked at my salon to put her, to get her on my books.
On your books,
because I'd leave my books there. And I'm just like, I can't. Sorry.
Yeah. I just think it's important to kind of walk somebody through, because people are terrified of making those decisions. They're hard decisions to make.
Hard. It's scary.
And it's very scary.
And no one likes to make that call.
No, whether it's to like an employee or somebody that works at the salon, if you're a salon owner, or to a customer. Like, I've had to do that too, but it's a very respectful conversation of like, hey, look, it's not worth, like, we've had to let go of distributors in the past, and that conversation it's very similar. It's very respectful. Like, it's just not working out, but I think that'll be helpful for people to hear kind of like what you would say.
Yeah. And I've had a conversation even with someone that sat there and just kept on tearing my nails apart. Finally, I just like, listen, Lauren, it wasn't Becky. Her name was Lauren. I'm like, I don't feel that you're happy with my nails.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think that? Like, well, you really complain the whole service.
All the time.
Every time you complain when you come back in, and it stresses me out, and you don't seem happy. So I think it's best that you go somewhere else. It stopped. That behavior stopped, and she continued to go to me. But if it hadn't stopped,
then you would have said,
I still would have ended up happy, because she wouldn't have been on my books again.
Right. So you're controlling that. It really is a matter of like, you've got to have that conversation. Okay. And so that's awesome. Okay. Now, what about, we see this, okay? We see nail techs blasting their, I see it all the time. You see it all the time, blasting their customers on social media. I actually have a very strong opinion about this. How do you feel about it? The client clapback, right?
Client clapback. I understand that frustration.
Yeah.
I've even done it myself, not on social media, but like, you let this kind of tension build up, and the next client that comes in that does the smallest thing, you're like, listen.
Yeah, you kind of lose it on them.
So I know what they're doing. They're like expressing their frustration, but what you're not understanding is that one client, Habib, didn't even see it. But your other client, who's
saw the post,
always on time, who's sweet, is like,
what did
that's
I do
horrible.
Wrong?
What did I do wrong? I see it. You'll see in the post. Was it me? Or it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth about that person. Even if you're not the one doing it, you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I mean, I've seen like cussing out.
Yeah, I've seen it too. And it is, look, no, in any business, you can't do that. Whether it's nails, nail tech, like, you can't. I've had literally customers call, like, they had a bad experience. It happens, right? Even whether it's our fault or not our fault. I've had customers call and like really just beyond irate. I would never blast a customer ever. Like, you can't, that is just, in general, it's bad business practice, you know, and social media is out there. Like you said, Tracey, which is a great point. All your other clients are seeing how you deal with your clientele.
Yeah.
It doesn't reflect good on you.
And if they were like, maybe 2 weeks before, they were literally like 10 minutes late and they called you, they're going to assume still that you're talking about that conversation.
Right.
And that's a horrible feeling.
Well,
and I've seen it done appropriately, though,
Yeah.
too. You can put stuff on social media.
Right. You can make an absolute, like, hey, just a reminder, you know, like, look, I love my clients, but it's really important for everybody on time, you know. Like,
my policy is
this.
Yeah.
That's it. But that, like, here's what I think a lot of business people don't quite understand. You know, it's that your business can go away like this. It can. I say this all the time. I operate Young Nails under, there's 25% fear and there's 75% like curiosity and passion and love for business. But this is just how I am. Not everybody does this, but I operate 25% out of fear because I don't take for granted that we have this amazing business, even as big as we've grown this. I don't, Tracey.
Yeah,
it takes one small, stupid thing and all of it can go away like that.
Yeah.
And for nail professionals that you've worked so hard to build this clientele, you are not untouchable. Nobody is. Nobody, not even we've seen the biggest businesses in the world go under off of something really, really stupid, you know, especially in this climate of social media, things come and go extremely fast. You're not untouchable.
And you never know how someone reads it too. That's why I hate sometimes communicating via text and stuff, because
it's hard to get the tone.
You can't understand the tone.
That's right.
So you may be like, I'm just being firm, but it just sounds nasty.
Really, really gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like as I met last night, I was texting Tracey and I was texting her and I realized, I'm like, shit, this could come off the wrong way. So I called her because I wanted her to hear like the mindset and like the frame I was in, that it wasn't like I was upset. But it could have been interpreted like that, right? Like easily.
You know, but I didn't interpret it that way.
Okay.
But
because you know I'm not a jerk. Pause. You can agree with me. Go ahead.
Anyway, what we were talking about.
Yes.
No, but I also know you.
You know me,
yeah,
right?
It's like if Habib's annoyed, he's going to call you.
Yeah.
But it is a problem. Like you, and it depends on the person's mood, right?
Yeah, that's
if they're in a good mood,
true.
they take it positive. If in their bad mood, they take it negative.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious to understand how everybody deals with difficult clients. This is our opinion, and it would be very helpful, I think, for people to know how you do it. How do you deal? And maybe give some pointers and some tips on some experiences you've had with difficult clients. I think that would be really, really helpful. Sorry, were we going to say something?
No, I think it would be really interesting to hear.
Yeah, I want to see. I think it would be really, really cool. If you guys have any questions, always let us know. And with that, I'd like to say thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week on the Biz Talk.